Alright all, greetings, welcome back to my Let's Learn series, and we're going to be doing something that automatically requires a warning. So, at the start of my last episode, we basically made it to a point where I don't really have any sort of dungeons to explore, and I'm only level 29. I want to hit level 30 before I fight the boss in Dreadfall, so we're basically going to do an Exploratory Farportal run. Now, the Exploratory Farportal, if you want to travel in the Farportal, you can't know where you'll end up. This is basically a randomly generated dungeon. Like, it's completely random. Unlike all the other dungeons that have some sort of theme or something else going with them, I don't know what to expect when I jump into the Exploratory Farportal. It's sort of like the Ruined Dungeon, but a little bit more different. The Ruined Dungeon is heavily RNG and has some stable elements in it. The Exploratory Farportal, however, is completely RNG. It has no stable elements in it, and what I get is random completely. So I just jumped in here and it got a Blade Horror right here and a Skeleton Mage. So what generally happens with the Exploratory Farportals when you jump into them, I'm just gonna heal this up. When you jump into the Exploratory Farportals, you basically have a sort of random dungeon designed for you, and it has randomly spawned enemies to sort of fight. So right now it looks like I'm fighting an Eldritch Horror themed dungeon with perhaps other elements in it. So we're going to be fighting a bunch of these Eldritch Horrors for this specific dungeon, and perhaps there's a couple other elements also stable in this one as well. So there's another Eldritch Horror. There's definitely Eldritch Horrors everywhere. We might also be fighting Blighted Orcs. So those would be Orc Necromancers or Orc Bloodcaster. So basically, it's the we're fighting like more of the dark theme type of orcs here, along with the Eldritch Horrors. There's an exit right there. I'll know something about the exit, by the way. Sometimes with these like dungeons, they're basically random designed. So stuff like this in the Trollmire, or the other type of dungeons, there's always going to be like these next levels on the actual edges. In this sort of instances, it might be like not next to the edge because it's not a predefined anyway type of dungeon. It's completely random. All right, there's another warrior there. So judging from the looks of it, we're fighting Eldritch Horrors. More, what do you call it? Blood Mage Orcs and Necromancer Orcs and a couple Undead. So those are like the themes of this dungeon. The themes can sometimes be different, and they can basically vary in how much they basically produce, enemies. So I'll note that we're fighting a whole lot of Necromancers and Skeletons and all that, but there's no real concept as to like what sort of like there's no one, like, there's not a heavy amount of spawn of Blood Mage Orcs. It seems to be like 1/3 of the map is like these Orcs, 1/3 is the Undead guys, and then 1/3 is the Eldritch Horrors as well. But it could very well be that I could run into one of these Farportal instances, and what would happen is that instead of having the like 1/3 of these guys, 1/3 of these guys, we could have had an instance where, say, it was like 90% these guys and then 5% those guys and 5% the others. So the majority of the dungeon would instead, not be all skeletons, but more so it'd be heavily tuned to be more instanced, I guess, in the sense that there'd be like, more undead instead. All right, we're gonna rush you, kill you. It looks like that Necromancer didn't see me, so I stand corrected. There's the Necromancer right now coming for me, so we're just gonna do this. We're gonna step here. Now you want to be very careful with the Farportals because sometimes you can run into a very dangerous instance with them. You could run into like Worm that Walks, for example, or other very dangerous denizens that can pose a real threat to you. Or you could run into, say, how can I put it? For example, I ran Farportal dungeons with a past character that I filmed called the Skeleton Sun Paladin. The Skeleton Sun Paladin, he had a Farportal dungeon that sort of popped up. It consisted of, how can I put it? Luminescent Horrors, Luminescent Horrors, Luminescent Horrors, Luminescent Horrors. And Sun Paladins, if you don't know already, are light-themed enemies, or light-themed characters, so I basically was fighting guys that like did light beam damage and were resistant to light beam attacks, and I was on a character that did light beam damage and was fully capable of being hit by those light beam attacks. So in that instance, it was not a very friendly dungeon for the Sun Paladin. He was like, kind of shoehorned into being like having his ass kicked. Hey, look at that! There's a few spiders too, apparently. I say few spiders because it's unlikely that there's like just a couple random guys thrown in there. Sometimes you'll find like random enemies thrown into these dungeons, and okay, so there's a worm that walks. We're going to try and butcher him as fast as humanly possible. So we're just going to do that and finish him off. And we are getting our ass kicked a little bit here. Do that. Let's see here. Let's go throw that at him, kill him. Alright, so they're all out of the way. I'll note what I should be doing because I have access to it is using track. And this can let me basically see stuff around me to sort of understand what I'm sort of getting myself into. So it looks like we got Burloos and a Blade Horror over here. There's a Headless Horror right here. I'm not sure we've covered them yet, but I'll basically get to them when we get to them. Bunch of Dragon Hatches over here that I'm going to kill. There's a summoning trap right there. Alright, before I basically commence battle with these guys, the Eldritch Eyes and the Headless Horror, I want to note that there's a very special sort of theme going on with the Headless Horror here, so we're just going to do this first. So, Headless Horrors. Headless Horrors, as you can see, resist Blight completely, they resist Mind completely, they resist Nature completely, and they have 90% all resistance. So, these guys are really untouchable, but they have a very they have a weakness. I don't think it actually says here what the weakness is, but these Eldritch Eyes that follow him around, these guys are fully susceptible to damage, and when you kill them, it actually weakens him. So basically, this guy kind of looks and works like the enemy from the Lake of Nur when I fought it. That enemy that was more or less when I was attacking it, it had like the sort of chance to the Eldritch Eyes falls, Headless Horror seems to weaken. So this guy's going to weaken for every one of these eyes I sort of kill, and as I kill him off, he becomes more susceptible to damage. So now he's got no resist at all. He's completely open to being attacked, and he's now dead. And that's basically how you deal with the Headless Horror. You basically just kill his little summoning guys, and then he's fully susceptible to taking full damage. Alright, so that's pretty much almost it for this dungeon. We got ourselves a Brittle that I have to deal with. I hate Brittle. Alright, so that's the first instance of the Exploratory Farportal. And we picked up nothing really spectacular. Sometimes you'll find like good items in here. And those items will basically what can I say about them? They use to basically charge up your Farportal, so to speak. Your Farportal adventures. Yep, I'm approaching an Orc Necromancer. And he's got a Shadow Buddy. Oh, we got ourselves an Umbral Horror. We've already fought one of these, so I'll just kill him instantly as fast as possible. And before I forget, I actually want to go back to the first instance because something I really like to do if there's summoning traps is set them off. I like to kill the guys that pop out because they're worth extra experience, and that's actually what I'm going for here, right? So the more guys I kill, the more experience I'll get, and the more experience I get, the more, you know, stronger my character will be, getting to level 30 and all that. I don't know how to get there. Stupid character, just there. Now I can get there. So here's a summoning trap. We're just going to step on it, and we've got a worm that walks, that pops out, a couple skeletons, archers. We're just going to do this. We're just going to do a big whirlwind to start off the battle. Alright, so we finally had an effect applied from this guy, which can sort of show off why he's so dangerous. So the worm that walks applies a special disease type of thing called worm rot. And what it does is it targets infected with carrion worm larvae. Each turn it will lose one beneficial physical effect, and it'll take blight and acid damage per turn. After 5 turns, the disease will inflict explosion of blight damage and spawn a carrion worm mass. So this guy basically plants like larvae in you, and it does lots of damage and takes off your physical effects. So he's actually really, you know, this is why he's dangerous, sort of. He has these like very powerful like debuff type abilities. And then a carrion worm mass bursts out of Bathing Let's so that bursted out on me right there. I'm also taking a little bit of blight damage from being in that ore. So wow, we've already fought 2 worm that walks in this episode. First one didn't cause a problem, but that one sort of caused a problem. Alright, we got so the random fire ant was kill there. Let's use a track. We're just going to look around just to see. Now, I want to note that I don't know where the bosses are going to be on these sort of instances. They could be like, you know, on the 2nd level, on the 3rd level, on the 4th level. These instances, you know, there's like they're random, so I don't know when I'm going to be fighting a boss or not fighting a boss. So I have to take it into account a little bit. It's a little bit stormy in, you know, right now outside. Okay, that's dead. We're almost up to level 30, which is very nice. That's green ooze. So I guess oozes and ants are also a part of this setup. So they're rare spawns on this like sort of instance. There's not a whole lot of them. Like there's basically a percentage of what type of spawns will appear. And you know, those might be a lot of ants. They might be, you know, a few ants. In this case, it's only like, you know, maybe 5% of the spawns can be ants. About maybe 40% might be the Eldritch Horrors. The other, you know, stuff would be the orcs and the other guys. Okay, we got ourselves those guys there. There's actually 2 bloated horrors right there. Blood mage over there. There's another umbral horror right there. Alright. Now, before I basically continue on, we're basically going to level up. As I sort of noted at the, you know, in the last sort of character development episode, level 30 is when we pick up our first prodigy. We'll get to that right after I sort of spend the points over here. I'm going to drop 2 points into cripple. And we're going to drop, let's drop, you know, all our points into cunning basically at this point. I'm basically going to try and boost up cunning to 60 as fast as possible, and then I might also drop some points into magic if I decide to, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Alright, so you need to have at least 50 points in one of these stats, these sort of modified stats, in order to pick up the prodigies in those, like, you know, that sort of categories. So I'm not high enough to get the magic stats, but I'm high enough to get the cunning or the dexterity stats, or dexterity prodigies rather. So when thinking about prodigies, you sort of have to think about your character design and like how you want sort of to work. As a basic rule with prodigies, you basically pick them up for 2 reasons. 1, you pick them up to sort of shore up your character's weaknesses, or 2, you pick them up to shore up your character's strengths. So my character, as it's developed right now, he's basically very mobile. He has Shadow Step, he has Switch Place 1, Rush 1, Phase Door, Teleport. So mobility is not an issue for him. One of the prodigies in here, Giant Leap, and over here, Fast as Lightning. These are basically sort of like mobile type of prodigies, and they'd be great to sort of help shore up my character if he's weak in mobility. I'll note that Giant Leap, for example, on normal rogues is a very special, very powerful prodigy that they should instantly take on level 30. A rogue with Giant Leap can basically wipe out a whole section of mobs in like a certain chunk of area, and that's actually how I got my 600 damage achievement, actually. With a rogue with Giant Leap, I basically just attack 4 or 5 adjacent monsters, and each of those, the attack itself is one attack, and each of those mobs added to the attack. So I basically did 200, 200, 200, 200, like 4 times, so I got like 800 damage on that attack, plus, a little add-on damage as well. Swift Hands, this ability lets me swap equipment, so it takes no time, and it also lets me ignore cooldown on activatable equipment and stuff like that. So basically what happens with this, if I just sort of demonstrate right now, whenever I put on certain type of items that have like abilities on them, like I don't think I have, oh yes I do, right here. So if I put on the Eye of the Forest or over the Helm of Garcool, when I put this on, it basically has a cooldown on the ability to use it. I can't use the Eye of the Forest's track ability, or Earth for Eyes ability right here, for like 30 turns. So what's happening here is the fact that this sort of item here, it actually requires that you have like 30 turns after putting it on to make use of its talent, or it's a special effect, or whatever else I want to do with it. And if I had that prodigy, Swift Hands, I basically would be able to avoid that. I could just instantly put it on, and then just use the ability right after it. Now I'll note that the free item switch here only happens once per turn, so you can't just put on a whole slew of equipment and then expect it only takes 1 turn. You have to do it basically all I have to do it in like a sort of strategical pattern, so to speak, in order to get the best use of it. Some of the other talents to sort of look in here, there's Elemental Surge over here, and there's Endless Woes. These abilities are sort of like elemental type of abilities that work really well with spellcasters. Elemental Surge, when you deal a critical hit with an element, you have a chance to trigger a special effect. Arcane damage will do basically 30% chance to increase your spellcasting speed. Fire damage will cleanse your physical, natural, temporal effects. Cold damage has a 30% chance to turn your skin to ice. Lightning damage has a chance to transform you into pure lightning, kind of like the elemental ruin for lightning does already. Light damage has a 30% chance to create a barrier around you, so that's a shield. Nature has a chance to harden your skin, preventing application of any magical detrimental effects for 5 turns. And cold and light effects skill if you're cunning. So these effects only trigger for hits over 120 damage. So basically, this is like when you get hit, you have a chance to basically when you do your damage for over 120 damage, you get these like massive like passive buffs applied to your character at the same time. I'm not really an elemental type of character. I mostly rely on physical damage on this character. I could use like light damage, so to speak, to make sort of use of shields on this like elemental surge, but we'll probably just avoid that talent. Endless Woes is sort of like the reverse. This is more of an offensive talent. So you surround yourself in malevolent aura, and basically any damage you take will basically sort of have this chance to sort of like apply these debuffs to enemies. So if I'm hit with acid damage, I have 20% chance to apply lasting acid. Blight damage has a 20% chance to put a random disease on the enemy. Darkness damage has a 20% chance to blind the enemy. Temporal slows them. Mine does confusion. So that's like all these like sort of effects. These are basically the I'll note that these aren't all the elements here. These are like only some of the elements. These are the rest of the elements right here, and they're more offensive in how they sort of work. Whirling Knowledge and Eye of the Tiger are actually considerations for this character. Eye of the Tiger, what it does is every time I basically do a physical crit, it will reduce the cooldown on a random technique or cunning talent by 2. Same with spell criticals and mind criticals doing something. Spell criticals will reduce 1 random spell talent by 1. Mind criticals will reduce doing talent on a wild gift or sonic ability or afflicted talent. Eye of the Tiger, I consider this to be a really neat ability because let's say I want to make use of Flurry a whole lot. If I have like Eye of the Tiger here, if I basically use Flurry, and that'll basically take 12 turns to cool down. With Eye of the Tiger, each time I do a physical critical hit after using Flurry, I could reduce this, by 1, or was it 2? By 2. So if I basically say spend 4 turns doing a critical each one of those turns, that basically reduced by 8 turns, and 8 plus 4 equals 12. So after 4 turns, this would be off cooldown again, assuming that there wasn't any other talents I'd use. I'll note that this is random, so if I use dual techniques, Flurry, Sweep, and Whirlwind, all these would have a chance to be cooled down by Eye of the Tiger. So I can't really pick what gets chosen unless I only use one talent and not use anything else after it. But this is a very powerful talent to sort of consider. There's also Whirling Knowledge, and Whirling Knowledge is kind of interesting in that it's like it's kind of special. So learn a talent category from one of the below at 9 mastery, basically 0.9. And group 1 categories are available to anyone. Group 2 are available to only people without any spells or runes, and group 3 are not available to followers of Ziggurar. So these are all the escort rewards that you can pick up. Group 1 is available to anyone. So conditioning and survival, those are basically from the warrior and the thief respectively. Anyone can pick up those talents. Group 2 are available only to people without spells or runes. So if I was an anti-magic person and I didn't have any runes, or if I didn't have what can I say about it? If I didn't have any runes, and if I didn't have any sort of like spellcasting ability naturally on the character, Group 2 would be available to me, and that includes like Technique Mobility, Field Control, Call of the Wild, Mindstar Mastery, and Dreaming. Those Group 2 categories, by the way, those are all anti-magic type of categories. If I was playing a character that could sort of follow the anti-magic path, I would have the option of picking up escort rewards that are like these ones right here: Mobility, Field Control, Call of Wild, Monster Mastery, and Dreaming. And these categories are actually all really interesting, so this we're throwing out. Group 3 is Diminution, Staff, Combat, etc. It's all the other stuff that I basically picked up so far. If I say I wanted to have Celestial Light and I didn't pick up a Norfil escort quest on the sort of way in my sort of game here, I could go to pick up Whirling Knowledge and pick up Celestial Light, so I can make use of this this category for the purpose of my character using it. And I'll note that Whirling Knowledge also gives you this category unlocked, so I have this locked because I picked it up, but if I want to, I could go to the projects and pick it up unlocked and then make use of this unlocked immediately, instead of waiting for a category point to become available to put in here. Alright, so that's basically all these talents, and you'll notice that I haven't touched on one of them, Windblade. So this is actually a project we're going to pick up on my character right now. Windblade, what it does: once you basically inflicted 50,000 damage with dual will type weapons, and you have 50 dexterity and level 30 for the prodigy, you basically can pick up Windblade. And this is a sort of an attack. You basically spin madly during a sharp gust of wind with your weapons that deal 320% weapon damage to all foes within a radius of 4, and also disarms them for 4 turns. So this is a very powerful ability, Windblade. And what it does is, it shores up my ability on my character to more or less attack guys in an AoE around me. So I don't really have very good AoE talents on this character, I don't think. More or less the stuff I'm sort of using, I have like Sweep and Whirlwind to sort of help out, but these are very expensive talents, and preferably I wouldn't want to use them that much. What I want to do is maybe use like Windblade here to sort of get by instead. So that's pretty much what we're going to probably do. Now, I know at this point I'm basically just going to drop this like blind speed and all this other stuff farther back over here. I'm going to basically, what can I say about this stuff? I'm getting to the point where I kind of have to sort of think about what's going to appear on like the first hotbar. So in hotbar management, sort of with your characters, depending on your monitor size, you can only fit so many down here initially. Eventually, you're going to have, like, as you can see, entire slew of hotkeys filled up with stuff. And then it even keeps going on the second hotbar quite a bit, except for over here a little bit. I've got Nature Pride over here, which I sort of forgot about, so I should probably also have it a little bit closer, so yoink. Alright, so more or less I have to sort of pick and choose what appears like sort of first. I should probably take this off. I'm not going to use I don't really use the pinning effect that much, so we're actually going to maybe drop the pinning effect over here a little bit. So put that there. Blind speed, that's fine. Maybe right there. And, you know, as what I'm sort of doing right here, I'm sort of like just like thinking about where I'm going to drop all this stuff so I can make use of it, but, you know, in what pattern am I going to be making use of this sort of stuff? You want to organize your stuff, your hotkeys, so that you can make use of them in whatever form that you like feel is, you know, going to be best made use of them for your character. And we're going to basically drop like stuff like here, stuff like, pick up the wrong talent there. We're going to drop maybe this one. Oh, God's sakes. Sometimes it can be a chore to sort of move this stuff around if there's like a delay on your character and it's lagging or whatever else. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Okay, Cripple's going to go right there. We're going to drop maybe this here. I think that's a fairly good setup right there, so we're just going to rest this up. So my character right now, he basically has all these attack taunts available at the readies for him. He basically has this, you know, dual strike right here, dirty fighting. Those are like the stun talents. He's got a couple rush talents from ability. He's got a couple single target talents, cripple and flurry. He's got all his AoEs. He's got his like item type of things here. Then we just get into like infusion or inscriptions rather, with like, you know, the more status and other type of inscriptions on the right and the regeneration types on the left. More items over here, etc. Summons. So that's how I'm basically going to set up my character right now. You can set up your own character's hotkeys however you damn well want. Sometimes you might do it sort of a different way to me. And I sort of just walked into a Looms of Horror. That's kind of stupid. What's something that's apply Curse of Death? What does apply Curse of Death? What applied the Curse of Death? Curse of Death from Eldritch Eye. There's an Eldritch Eye around, by the way, and they just apply Curse of Death. I'll note that the Eldritch Eyes, you want to kill them also because of the fact that they can basically apply stuff like this on you. That's not very fun. I'm actually going to basically sit here and do these and kill him. And we're actually just going to jump here. And I'm cursed again, so something yet again cursed me. We're actually going to run away from this guy here because I don't want to be, you know, when I have Curse of Death on me, I sort of want to take into account that I can take a lot of damage. I can't regenerate or use regeneration type infusions, so I'm basically, you know, sort of waiting for this to go off. I can use stuff like this to sort of heal up with Curse of Death, but it, you know, it's not fun to sort of have it on. I just want to. I got cursed again. Okay, where are these damn things? This is where I actually have to use track to sort of find out where this guy is. So there's the Eldritch Eye that's chasing me right now. And there's his buddy. So this guy came down to sort of hammer me with his stupid effects. Ow. Cursed me again. So just going to wait for this to go off a little bit. Heal up as needed. Alright, that's done. So there's like a sort of instance where that guy could actually attack me outside of my line of sight, by the way. My line of sight on this character, if I go to it, I have a light radius of 7 and a vision range of 10. So I only see 7 tiles out, and those guys are able to attack outside of the 7 tiles, so that's why I couldn't see them. Oh, there's the Headless Horror, and Ice Charge from the Eldritch Eye. This guy, as you can see, is a little bit weaker, but I prefer to maybe take out these eyes as quickly as possible and deal with them. I'm not sure you really saw it with the Headless Horror, but I always want to go in here. Although I'm going a lot faster, so I'm not really covering these guys as much as I was, but there's like something I should probably really note about what the Headless Horror here did. As soon as I can find it in here. Headless Horror, Headless Horror. By the way, they have infusion stuff, the Headless Horrors. Alright, I'm not seeing it, but shoot, I really probably should have made note of it as much as possible because it's a really, you know, effective thing that the Headless Horror has available to it. Alright, well, whatever. What this Hellish Horror did that you probably didn't really notice, but what the Hellish Horror did with my mana there, it actually shut it down. Hellish Horror has something called Mana Clash, and it's a very special ability that will let them basically wipe out your mana. And as a result, they they sort of just get off a whole lot of like damage on you at the cost of removing your mana. We're just going to heal up. And these guys popped up. This is a good situation to use Windblade because there's guys that are out, or there is a guy outside my sort of thing here. So there's Windblade going off, basically hits everyone for a lot of damage in like that little sight radius. Alright, we found ourselves another Eldritch Eye, and so that's another Hellish Horror up here. There's a rare right there. And this guy is Bloodbath, Crippled, Death Dance. This guy looks to be a Berserker. So we're basically going to get hit by that Eldritch Eye yet again. That'll be fun. We're going to heal up, let these guys perhaps come to me. Okay, here's the Hellish Horror. I'm just basically going to inspect him so you basically can see what he did. So this guy has something called Mana Clash, and what it does is it drains mana, vim, positive and negative energies, and it basically causes a arcane explosion inside the enemy. So the damage will basically inflict 100% of the mana done to me. So he would basically do 149 damage with me, with like the mana he would drain, and reduce all my mana at the same time. So that's sort of what was happening with like these guys here. He did it right there. So Mana Clash. He basically hits me for all that damage, and he shut off all my mana. Note that, by the way, he also shut off some of my sustains, so he actually shut off Premonition here. Premonition is gone, as is Blur Sight here. So I only have 2 of these talents activatable right now because he basically shut him down. This is actually kind of a bad situation because I want to get these guys, and this guy is sort of invulnerable. So we actually want to run from this guy, and we don't have any mana because guess what? He shut it down. What we're going to do... So this guy, he is, pretty much immune to my damage. He's not completely immune, but he's immune enough that he's going to be a threat. I'm basically going to hit him with the Daze right away just so he has reduced damage. And we're basically going to walk here, walk here. He's still dazed and he's still slowed. We're going to basically hit him with Cripple. And what Cripple will do if it lands, this will actually reduce his speed to attack me. So crippled targets, they basically can't use their attacks all that much. Basically, if your attack connects, the target is crippled, and they lose 42% melee, spellcasting, and mind speed. So this guy moves around at 100% speed, but if he tries to attack anyone or me, he basically has his speed on attacks reduced. So he basically does, like, say, with 42% damage for every what would it be, 6 turns. For every 6 turns I make, he basically only does about 4 attacks because of that reduced speed. And I can basically, just sort of run away from him now. Now, something to note here is that this is a sort of a good situation to sort of run out into, by the way, he did Mana Clash again. We're going to basically run out into the other instance here. This is sort of another stair dancing instance where I can sort of run out here. And I'm basically just going to... I apparently went to the third instance rather than running out to the last instance. I didn't actually mean to do this, by the way, but this will work. I can use this to heal up. So reverse stair dancing, actually stair dance up instead of down. But we basically did that so I could basically heal up and come back to fight these guys. So this guy, as you can see, is healed up back again. These guys' friend there. We're basically going to activate Blind Speed and use Teleport immediately. And then we're just going to kill him. We're just going to heal up. Now we're going to go hunting. We are going to go hunting. Okay, there's a Blade Horror right there. And the Headless Horror is right there, and there's the Necromancer. So those guys are there to sort of deal with. I want to sort of get around them to sort of hit the eyes first, so we're going to actually go up this way. And we're just going to rest up, use track. So there's a Blade Horror right here. Blade Horror right there, Luminous Horror is all over the place over there. And the stairs down here. Okay, good. So that's just the stairs. Sometimes these purple dots, they're a little misleading because they could be a special enemy or just could be downstairs somewhere. Alright, so you notice that those guys are moving around a little bit. So, okay, there we go. Whereas through here. So I came through here just to sort of cut a path so I can get to the Eldritch Eyes, get around the Headless Horror. We're also going to go up here and possibly deal with this guy up here. And heal up. And there's a summoning trap. Okay, there's a bunch of these guys right here. So that guy hit me with light damage. We're just going to sort of wait for him to sort of pop around. Okay, this is going to be kind of dangerous because there's a guy over here. So this is actually a good time to use track to see where they all are. So we got a couple of guys sort of over here, but they're not all on top of this guy here. So we can just go Shadow Step him and deal with him. I only got attacked by 2 guys there. That's fine. I can rush him and do a strike, making a little bit of damage. Just going to do that, and they're all dealt with. We're going to back off this square, use this, and now they're pretty much all visible, but this guy's sort of out and away from these guys, so we can hit him. And now there's this guy's there. This guy's close enough for a Windblade, so we'll sort of do that to him. That's sort of a waste, yes, you could say, but these guys, I basically just want to hit that guy there, and then back up, back up. There's the Necromancer. I actually want to take out the Necromancer as fast as possible, so we're just going to Shadow Step him to get rid of him. And step this way, step this way, step this way, step this way, step this way. Heal up. Put on a shield. So they're out of the way. And there we go. We managed to kill off all those guys easily enough. I'll note that, by the way, at this point, these guys are sort of getting to the point where this isn't as needed anymore. I'm not really having to worry about light damage as much. So I'm going to keep this for another reason, but this would actually be potentially a point where I might get rid of the Summertide file. This ring, however, the Copper Ring of Light, is definitely going to go because I don't really need it anymore. So let's get rid of that. And there's all this stuff over here, but whatever. Track, we still got a few guys around. There's an Alchemist Bloated Horror up here, apparently. We'll let his friend come to me first. Note that he's trying to attack me here, but he can't fully see me. So they're out of the way. And we got ourselves an Armor Skeleton right there. There's the rare, there's an Eldritch Eye, there's another Eldritch Eye, there's the Headless Horror. Kind of funny how they're sort of, navigating around, but whatever. We're going to go down. Oh boy, he summoned a bunch of guys. So, they'll still use their talents, by the way, these guys, the rares with, other talents. So he did use his own regular summoning type of talents there, but don't expect him to always do this, sort of. Okay, we're going to hit him with that. We're going to rush. We're going to use Windblade, and they're all dead. Okay, there's that guy there. And here's the Eldritch Horror's eye. So kill him. That's one eye down. Make sure he wasn't blocking there. Nothing like blocking a guy that I don't want to, actually be screwing around with. Alright, so this guy, he's had 2 of his eyes hit. He now has a lot less resistance than he used to. I can go over to him and say, hey, buddy, let's dangle. And he's out of the way now. Note that there's usually, 3 eyes. I'll note that if you only take out 2 of his eyes, the other eye usually will fall, I think. So it's kind of like, you know, the eyes are an extension of himself. They aren't some like separate monster. They are a part of him, so to speak. Those Eldritch eyes. And that's why it takes damage when he loses them and stuff like that. All right, so that's the second instance out of the way. There's a necromancer up here. Hey, what's up? Bye bye. We're gonna use track right at the start here to see where stuff is. There is that skeleton mage right there. There is our unique, so I'll get to him when we get to him, but the unique is basically the boss of these instances, these Farportal instances. So he's basically the guy I have to kill to get out of here. You're basically locked into the Exploratory Farportal unless you want to use a Raw Recall to sort of break the Farportal. If you use the Raw Recall, you basically can't come back here again, but if you kill the unique, you can basically get out. Okay, I'm actually getting really, really close to him, so... Ow. We're going to basically back up, let his buddies come to us now. Note that this worm, by the way. Worms have like regular drakes next to him, so I've got to worry about them, along with the fact that, you know, he can also breathe on me. Let's breathe fire. Kill you. Throw a rock at these guys. So there he is. Okay, so this guy is a unique. And he's basically kind of like the guy I fought in the Shelter Fortress, the Luminous Horde that was a Paradox Mage and a Mind Slayer. What uniques are is basically they are 2 classes combined into one. And this guy here, he has Skullcracker and he has Vault. He has dual strike talents, so this guy, because he has Noggin Knocker and because he has Skullcracker, is a Skirmisher, Marauder rare. Or he's not rare, he's unique. And he's going to have access to both classes for Skirmishers and for Marauders. These guys are generally a lot tougher than most enemies you'll basically find because they have access to 2 classes. They also get buffed to like their stats as well. What this sort of comes out to being, when you fight like these uniques, basically, kind of like what the Paradox Mage and Mind Slayer Luminous Horde is fighting, they basically get substantially tougher. And in some cases, they can be so tough that they're tougher than even the regular bosses that are supposed to be tougher than. We use Windblade right here. Kill you. So he still has his regular talents, like, you know, he's a worm, so he basically uses worm type talents to basically breathe on me there. We're gonna basically try and just rip him down as fast as possible. So he did that sort of just rush into there. I'll do another attack here, and he's out of the way. Luckily, he wasn't too threatening. He basically did deep wound on there, which kind of hurts, but... Now, whenever you kill the uniques in here, you basically have these Exploratory Farportals access to prematurely spawn under you. This won't be the only one that'll spawn. And I'm not going to use it just yet, but basically, they basically let you get out these exits. So Raw Recall shakes, the portal appears beneath you. I can like leave right now at any time if I want to by those portals. They'll basically spawn. Now note that they'll spawn ridiculously. They don't like stop spawning. They just keep spawning until you're done with them. Okay, that's a elite Naga up here, by the way. So here's an elite Naga Tide Huntress. They're basically Archer type of Nagas. Pretty much, if you read her little backstory here, though the sharp point of an arrow pointed steadily at your head is of concern, more unnerving is the creature that wields it. A slim and lithe woman with a waist up, but a terrifying giant serpent beneath, her tail stretching for several feet behind her. Her eyes turn cold, and ice seems to magically condense on the tip of her barbed arrow again. Suddenly, it was of concern again. So she's basically an archer with like cold theme type of talents. And she can be kind of like, a threat. We're going to basically let these guys sort of funnel in. You actually want her to get a little bit closer because she's like the master archer, so basically run away from you. Basically, if you give her a chance, she'll just start moving the other way. Shadow Step. Luckily, because I'm a Shadow Blade, I do a lot of damage, so I just insta-kill her pretty much, but she's still concerning. Okay, used... Wow, that's one heavily defensive skeleton. we're going to back off from this guy until he becomes invisible at least. And then we'll Shadow Step, and he's dead. Hey, here's an Orc Soldier. Okay, Worm That Walks. Try to drop a Worm That Rod on me, but I resisted. That's kind of cool. You know what we're going to actually do here? I'm actually going to try and let this guy get an attack on me. Note that he's basically over here. And he tried to use Drain on me. Cool, he failed. That's fine. I don't mind if he fails that. Let's try and throw the rock at me. This won't kill him, but I'm not trying to kill him. Okay, he's knocked back. Alright, you know what? We're just going to try and sit here for a moment. Okay, he's doing a terrible job of killing me. So, this guy does have a talent called Blindside, which lets him get into instant melee with me. But he's doing a fairly bad job of trying to get into melee with me. So we're just going to do that. He tried to use Worm Rod on me again, and he failed yet again. Note, by the way, that he's healing from blight damage. These guys have affinity to blight, so if they're in like these, these KM mass death places, then he'll still heal up in them. Alright, this is taking forever, so we're just going to burn him. Bye-bye. And we found ourselves a Corruptor over here. So, you can probably only guess what these Corruptors do, but they're basically like the Elven Corruptors. Hey, another one of these. What's up? Let's just flurry this guy down. And then we'll do this. Ow. Taking a little bit of damage here. So yeah, the worm that walks, they can do a lot of damage, even to my character that can easily more or less kill them most of the time. They should be a lot more threatening, but I guess maybe they toned down their blindside ability a little bit so they don't use it as much. It feels like in a lot of past versions they've used blindside almost immediately to get into combat with you, or if you tried to like move away. This one seems to be more moving around to try and get to you instead of blindsiding you as much. Okay, an Oozing Horror. Yeah. So I want to note that this guy, he has Mana Clash much like the Headless Horror, and that can let you rip through your mana, much like you know before. These guys, I consider these guys to be kind of like in the sort of realm of how dangerous the Worm That Walks is. Oozing Horrors, they sort of have the ability to sort of deal spellcasters very easily. They have some talents in them. One is basically called Mana Clash, much like the other one. But they also have some other stuff in here that's kind of deadly as well. They have something called Tentacle Grab, which basically lets them grab you and drop you in, basically into the melee range of them. They have a couple other things like Slime Wave, which basically slows you down, and it'll do slime damage to you. Slime Roots basically will more or less let you do like some other stuff in here. But basically this guy is kind of like a, how can I say this? This guy's kind of like an anti-magic horror. He's actually feeling to be sort of anti-magic in nature, and damn it, I sort of made a bad call here. So he used Tentacle Grab on me, so I'm grappled and have all this other crap on me. There's also this guy over here now, so I've got a Doomed Necromancer and these guys on top of me here, so this is sort of a bad situation to sort of be in. And I've also have my, my mana crushed from this guy, so kind of a bad situation. We're actually going to activate both of these. We're going to try and get rid of one of these physical effects immediately. We're going to Windblade these guys immediately. And we'll use Blinding Speed. This is actually a good point to sort of use my Nature's Pride, so we're actually going to drop this here. So Nature's Pride drops a couple of Trents to sort of, use as like summons. And the purpose of dropping all these guys is sort of like the stopgap these minions is basically going to be sending at me here for a moment. While I get my mana and other stuff back on. So notice that these guys spawn on top of the stuff over here. This guy's going after my Trents. Trents actually have a special ability, by the way. It's called Taunt. Taunt basically lets hostile forces basically target the Trent instead of me, so he's been switched to the Trent instead of coming after me. Alright, so I basically jumped over on that guy to sort of kill him instantly. So I think I killed him instantly. He deflected some of that damage. I think he might still be... Oh, no, I killed him. Okay, so the Orc Necromancer's dead there, but this guy here froze me, I think. So, gotta deal with that. I'm actually gonna drop this on. And kill him. So lots of these guys over here. Note that these guys, these summons that I basically put off, they have a sort of time limit before they basically expire. These trends will basically last 3 more turns. If you look at it, it says time left 3. So after 3 turns, they will disappear. And to make the use of them, I want to sort of like, you know, I want to keep these guys alive for a little bit, but as they sort of get away, you know, they're about to die, I can make use of, say, other abilities. Like, I killed my own Elder Vampire there, for example, but those trends were about to die anyway, so no big issue, just like killing them there. Okay, track. There's that thunder over there and a bunch of other stuff. Our portal appeared. Bear. Kill them. Summoning trap. And I really did the shadow step a little bit bad there, but this isn't so bad because I have Windblade now. So I'm going to hit everyone there with that. And you're in the way, damn it, so we'll actually have to do that. Note that the Umber Hulk here, he hasn't moved. I want to just look at him just temporarily. These guys, they have a light race of 0. They can't actually, I guess, see you, I guess, for whatever reason. They do have heightened sense 10, but for some reason they won't move until you get closer to them, sometimes. So that guy will sit there for a moment until you get a little bit closer, and then he'll start moving. Alright, there was a summoning portal around, so we're going to go look for it. Some of this stuff we'll basically do Windblade, kill you, and that's all done. And I think that'll be it for our little Exploratory Farportal adventure. So this was a very long sort of Farportal here, and it was mostly because of the dozens inside, Spellcasters, Eldritch Horrors, and stuff like that. You got a fairly good look at some of the stuff in here though, at least, so there's something good to say about that at least. We actually found some good daggers. Or we found a good dagger. I'm still looking at stuff for a Constitution stat, just as a reminder. So if I see anything that sort of has Constitution on top of it, like say this helmet, I'll keep it just for pretty much that sake, if I can wear it. I should probably check that helmet, see if I can actually wear it and actually check the stats. Can't wear shields yet, or won't wear shields rather. Alright, so we've basically gone through one Farportal. It took us a little bit to get through it, but it wasn't too bad. Did I accidentally transmogrify that helmet? And where the hell is all my gear? Oh, I'm using object. By the way, if you press U, you just look at objects you can use, not objects that you actually have in your inventory. That's sort of what I did there. Alright, so I can wear this helmet if I want to. That'll basically increase my Constitution by 7 if I put it on. I'll note this also gives me blind fight and it also gives me resistance to light and darkness, but it gives a -2 sight radius, so it's not really something I consider to be a great helmet to put on, but it does have its uses if you want to use it. So this is going to be my sort of Constitution helmet. Well, I'll put on when like I don't. If I need Constitution, I don't have to keep that one on anymore. I'll keep this for the set item purposes, but. Alright, so we managed to find ourselves a really good dagger here. Note that this dagger is like, you know, it's got much higher base power than say either of these ones right here. So this is actually worth considering making use of. So these have basically served their purpose sort of, so we're just going to take them off. And I'll put this on. So these daggers, the moon and the star, they were nice for a while, but I think what we're going to do, we're going to basically replace them with the Swordbreaker, the Dagger of the Past, or Silent Blade here. The Silent Blade, this is okay, but probably we're not going to be making a whole lot of use of it, I don't think. The Swordbreakers is awesome. This gives you physical save, disarm immunity. It gives you defense, armor harness. It's basically an all-around very awesome weapon to use. This one's also very good. It gives increased movement speed. And also gives me a faster attack, or not. I suppose they're all fairly fast, except for this one. All right, so basically, I'm going to make a choice basically between the Dagger of the Past or the Swordbreaker. And I'm thinking that the Swordbreaker is very cool, but I rather prefer the Dagger of the Past right now. So we're going to put that on. And Moon and Star have more or less served their purpose at this point. They were nice for a while, but they're starting to lose their edge, so to speak. I'll keep them for a little bit, but I probably won't be putting them back on after this point. Now, I'm going to actually take off Night Song here. Night Song basically is a very awesome type of ring for a Shadow Blade to use, but I'm thinking I actually want to possibly put on this ring right here, the Rogue Steel Ring of Clarity. Confusion is going to be a very big thing to worry about against the Master fight, which I'm going to be doing pretty much in the next episode from this. And I think I prefer to have like the stats from this one than say the Night Song over it. So we're going to put that on. And I guess we're more or less ready to continue our fight. Blindness immunity is also something to worry about, so I'll keep it on for that. Alright, so I want to note at this point, I basically don't have any sort of like escape inscriptions or movement type of inscriptions on my character here. I've been going through this with like these healing, like shielding, healing, and regeneration, these ones over here. Something to note is that on characters is that you probably want to have at least one type of movement type of inscription on your character. That could be the movement infusion, the teleportation rune, the controlled phase door rune, the phase door rune, whatever. But more or less, I haven't basically found any good ones, so I haven't really put on any ones. But for the boss fight here, I definitely want to have a teleportation rune handy, so we're going to use this. And I'm going to basically replace the healing infusion here. So I've basically gone through the game without, using this like these movement infusions, but for the fight with the Master, you really want to sort of have these like sort of abilities to sort of deal with him. He basically has a really tendency to sort of like be difficult sometimes for some characters. So I'm basically sort of putting this on, this teleportation rune here, just for the simple fact that it'll basically make the fight with him easier. Alright, so more or less this episode is more or less complete. But before we go, I'm just going to do something. So I'm going to go to the world map. I'm level 30 as a note. And this will pop up. Lush Forest. Suddenly it comes back to you. Remember long ago, somebody told you about a strange lush forest in the cold, icy wastes of the Northland. So once you hit level 30, besides getting a prodigy, there's also a chance that the lush forest will appear. Now, I want to note that for Forlorn characters, if you play Forlorn, you can almost be guaranteed to, or not just almost, you will be guaranteed to get this instance. This is basically a level dependent type of instance that will pop up. You won't be able to get access to it until you hit level 30. It's a very difficult instance, so I won't be going into it probably until after I defeat the Master. But just a note, that's when it pops up. You'll basically have a chance of having this lush forest appear when you hit level 30, unless you're Forlorn, in which case it will always pop up for you. Alright, now I'm just basically going to take their character here to Driftfall. We're going to go to level 9, and we're basically just going to sit there and wait for the next episode when we basically do the boss fight. And I'll note that once we kill the Master, that's effectively the point where I say that the game has sort of turned into the second part of the campaign, the second half. Alright, we're just going to go through stairs, through stairs, through stairs, through stairs. And I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.